Can you guys hear me? Hold on. Can you guys hear me now? I think you guys can hear me. My little meter's going all bananas, so I can't really see that like you guys can or can't hear me. This is a new setup, so it's kind of I have to play with the audio a lot. Um, awesome. Awesome. Perfect. Um, Let me know if it's too quiet and I'll increase the audio. Um, I'm actually going to change the music because this is like binaural instrumental type music and I can't think while that's going on. Get some of these D&D playlists that just play really epic instrumental music. Cool. And just turn it all the way up. Um, I'll be louder when I turn my head towards the mic. So don't worry too much about it. But if I'm speaking too quietly, then just let me know. Like speak up a little bit more so that we can hear. This Age of Renaissance is not the vibe. I wish I could just play regular music, but I can't. But I can't. Oh, shit, yeah. Oh, no. Like, half of his songs are gone. Kevin, no. Is this just one song? No, it's a whole CD. I'm gonna turn my own audio down. Turn that up a little bit so you guys can actually hear it. Okay. So today is Tutorial Thursday, which means that I am going to teach you guys a lesson for today. And then I'll post the VOD later. So today's lesson is going to be on color theory and how to use color theory in certain pieces. Not certain pieces, but just how to use color theory in general. It'll make a lot more sense. Hold on, I'm thinking, because this is gonna get annoying. Haha! I figured it out, guys. Make this a lot easier on everybody. Just move my heavy keyboard. There we go. That's a little better. This way I don't have to like whip my head around all over the place. Yeah, so we're gonna go over a lesson about color theory, which I think is a very important lesson for a lot of visual artists. And a lot of visual artists seem to have a really hard time with this because of the way it's taught. And the way that it's taught makes it a lot more complicated than it needs to be. Color theory is it's one of those things that's simple and complicated all at once. And a lot of the time when you're learning it, especially like when you're younger, they make it lean really heavy into the complicated side. Let me grab my my binder with my color theory notes in it really quick, and then we'll get started. All right. I got my notes. So the first part that I'm going to go over is just going to be about basic color theory, about what color is, how it works, and how you can kind of tell what color is where, what color is what, and what color is available to you as a visual artist. So let me turn my screen on and we can get started. Transition, thank you. So this is Clip Studio Paint. This program is really great. It has this feature called intermediate color, which is what that blue and yellow is. And I'm actually going to take that and I'm going to use my primary colors. Put my red up here. And I'll put my green, because green is one of those colors that the intermediate color panel does not produce itself. So this is essentially the intermediate color panel. This is what I personally use. This is what I personally use when it comes to blending colors. And needing like a very specific color in the blend, instead of just putting a gradient down and color picking and hoping to get the right one, I use the intermediate color panel to find the exact color that I needed. So that's just a feature that I think people should be really aware of, especially if you're looking to blend certain colors but you don't want to use a blended method in your painting and you want to just do sharp line paintings. This is really, really useful. I'm going to put it back where it was. There we go. So, rude. So, to start with, what is color? It's called the intermediate color panel. It is going to be under window, and then you go down to color, where it says color wheel, color slider, color set. It's going to be the next one down called intermediate color. I don't think it's in Photoshop just yet. I'm sure Photoshop will figure out a way to put it in there at some point, but I know Paint Tool Sai I think has something similar. Let me open Paint Tool Sai really quick and see, because I'm pretty sure Paint Tool Sai has something similar. It does. On Paint Tool Sai, it is called the... It actually doesn't have a name on Paint Tool Sai, but we'll just continue to call it intermediate color. But the difference with the Paint Tool Sai version is you only get 4 rows of color and it's gradient based. So. Okay. Back to the lesson. So in a lot of ways, we are still trying to understand color in general. So color is how our eye perceives light. And this is a perfect example because it's a picture and it makes sense. So I'm going to use this. Okay. So this is what is called additive color. This is color based on light. Additive color is how light interacts with each other to create another color. These are usually the colors that you'll see in printing, photography, photo editing, and lighting, like stage lighting. This is what you'll see. This is called additive color. Subtractive color, on the other hand, is what you will see on digital displays. You'll see that very often in... Oh, wait. My bad. Flip that. Digital displays would also fall into the additive color category, since it's an additive... it's an additive color set, because it's light reflecting back at us to show us what color we are trying to see. Subtractive, on the other hand, is usually what you'll see with painting. If I could just get a subtractive set without the additive set attached to it, that'd be cute. That'd be a cute moment. Stop it. Here, we'll just use this picture because this picture is actually pretty useful. Okay. So this is another picture. So, additive color is made of red, green, and blue. And subtractive is made of cyan, magenta, and yellow. When you mix additive colors, you will get cyan, magenta, and yellow. But when you mix subtractive colors, you're going to get the red, green, blue. So they're two sides of the same coin. It's just in a matter of how those colors interact with each other, right? So the colors themselves are interacting in different ways. Where additive is light-based, subtractive is physical-based. So the physical-based colors, usually you'll see subtractive color mixing used in painting, clothing design, so dyeing clothing. Usually it's the physical use of color. So you'll see them mix like cayenne pigment. Yeah, cayenne. Cyan, there we go. Cyan pigment with a magenta pigment to make a blue pigment, so that the blue pigment will match what they need them to match with, right? So here's why there are these... Oh, let me make a new layer really quick. Oh, no, stay on that layer. Thank you. Get my red. Okay, so that's why you see... No, I'm not going to use red. I'm going to use white. So that's why you see this here in the middle. Because that kind of helps determine... here. That's why it's called additive and subtractive. It's called additive because you add light into another light to create a color. The more you add, the brighter that light's going to get, hence you're going to get that white. Subtractive, though, is used by taking colors away from other colors, or taking pigment or light away from other colors. Hence, you get that black. So, that's something to keep in mind. The subtractive is going to be physically based. Additive is going to be 9 times out of 10 light based. It's very, very rare that you will ever see any kind of close those. It's very rare you'll ever see any kind of additive colors in a physical format. Hence why there are two different color formats for digital work. RGB, which is red, green, blue, and CMYK, cyan, magenta, yellow, black. Okay. So now that I've explained what color is and how it interacts with each other, I'm actually gonna, where's my mouse? Gonna actually read this. Additive color system. Yeah. Yeah. Cool. I was right. Okay. So now that I've explained that, I'm going to explain colors. What are they? Where do they come from? What can you do with them? All that good stuff. Excuse me, I was finishing my smoothie. So there are, I want to say, 3 types of colors. I'm only going to show you 2 at this moment. Colors come from light and waveforms. Like I said, color is how our eyes perceive light reflecting off of items. That's why sometimes you see leaves on a perfectly healthy tree. Sometimes leaves can look yellow or sometimes they can look green. It's because of how the cones in our eyes are perceiving the light bouncing off of those tree leaves and our brain processing it. So there are 3 different color groups. There's more than 3, but I'm only going to explain 2 because I have them pre-put up already, and then I'll show you how to make the third. But the first is called the primary colors. These are the colors that you use to mix other colors. These colors cannot be mixed. These colors or pigments cannot be mixed by any other medium. So they are primary. These are the colors that you cannot get anywhere else, okay? The next set of colors is called secondary colors. These are colors that are made by mixing the primary colors together. Red with blue, yellow with red, blue with yellow. Then the third is called the tertiary color set. These are the colors that are made by mixing a primary and a secondary. So they fall in between a primary color and a secondary color. All right? So these 3 colors here are our primary colors. Our primary colors are red, blue, and yellow. Pretty basic. Red, blue, and yellow can be mixed together in any combination to make another color. With red and yellow, you'll get orange. Blue and yellow, you'll get green. Blue and red, you'll get a purple. Now, here's the thing with purple. Blue, in the traditional painting world, as far as pigments go, blue is always going to outweigh red. So you are going to have to mix a lot of red with very little blue to get a reddish purple. And then you're gonna have to tweak how much blue and how much red you mix in, because a 50-50 mix is not going to get you a color that you were expecting. Your secondary colors, like I said, are orange, purple, and green. Now, digitally, hear me out. Digitally, you cannot mix green. I mean, you can mix green, but you're not going to get the color that you think you're going to get. I'll show you. So if I make a new layer, get a brush, and take this blue, and I put down some of this blue here. Hold on. Let me turn off the pen pressure for this. So I put down some blue here. And then I put down some yellow. I'm not getting green. I'll even use the blending tool to blend it together to show you. Let me use a soft blend so that you guys can see it a little easier. See? I blended together blue and yellow, and I'm not getting a green. I'm getting a purpley kind of color, which it's not a bad color. It's actually a really nice color, and I like it. But I'm getting this kind of dusty lavender kind of color. This is because digital systems have a hard time processing green as a color when you're mixing stuff. So when you're mixing, if you're using techniques that are traditional, make sure you have a green color on your canvas prior to mixing your green, because you will not be able to mix colors together to get green. If you look on the intermediate, if you look up here in the corner on the intermediate color panel, you can see, like, if I take this yellow and replace the green on the screen in the intermediate color with the yellow, I'm getting no greens. And I'll even make this bigger so you can see it. You see there's no greens in this area at all. And it goes back to what I said about additive and subtractive colors. You can't add a green light into, or you can't mix a yellow light and a blue light to receive a green light. It just doesn't work that way. I'm not 100% sure why it doesn't work that way. I think it should, but it's just how the systems process the color. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that. Okay, so like I said, these are your primary and secondary colors. These are the colors that you will see most often in pieces, where they don't want to do like a full range of color. They'll use primary, secondary, mix them together to kind of get their colors. Let me go ahead and get my circle tool, and then we can blend together the colors to make our tertiary colors. And I'll label it and I'll write it down for you guys. Oh, excuse me. Circle tool. So if we mix red with purple or blue with purple, what color would we get? What color do you think we would get? Typically, we would get something just a little closer to the primary color. That's what we would think. Sometimes it does work that way, and sometimes it doesn't. Let me use this one. In the digital world, we get a pink, so a red-violet, a blue-violet. Hold on, let me just do this. Put this here, put there, that there, and that there. There we go. So these tertiary colors, which fall in a hexagon, There we go. So you'd have, oh. There we go. Cool. Blue, violet between the blue and the purple. Let's put the green down. Put the green down between the yellow and the blue. You'd get a teal color. I'm going to actually move that down to the next one because that one will be a little bit more true to color. Then you'll get a yellow-green between the... so you'll get blue-green and yellow-green when you mix green with their primaries. Let me get the yellow-green for you guys. And then you move on to the red to yellow colors, which would be a yellow-orange and a red-orange. Orange there, put the blue there. Now I'm just using this process because it makes it go quicker. There's your yellow-orange, and then between the red and the orange, you have your red-orange. There we go. We just made a full color wheel. As full as it can get without going overboard. So, those are your tertiary colors. Go ahead and get a really vibrant red. Oh, wrong layer. There we go. And that's spelled T-E-R-T-I-A-R-Y. Tertiary. Make that black. So those are your 3 color sets. Those are the 3 types of colors that you can use. You could use any color set. These are the 3 main color sets that you'll see. And how you get most of the colors that we have. So the other thing is value and saturation. So I'm only going to use primaries to explain this. I won't use secondaries or tertiaries to explain it because that'll get a little cumbersome. But the rule applies essentially to all of these colors. Let me put these in their own folder. Okay, I'm going to move these now. I'm going to put them over here so that I can use them to explain this next part. So the next part you need to understand about color is that there are different values to those colors, which can change the color entirely. You can absolutely get a completely different color just by changing the value. So these are all set to a... Let me get this color back. These are all set to about 50% between the value scale. So you're going to see the terms... Let me go ahead and get these in their own folder and then get a new layer on top. So, excuse me, you're going to see the term HSL. Why is it so slow? Okay, got it. Or the term HSV. So HSL and HSV mean the same thing. It stands for hue, saturation, oh wait, you'll see this term too, HSB. Hue, saturation, luminosity, brightness, or value. That's what that stands for. It literally means the same thing. Hue is the actual color. So if you change, I'm going to put my brightness and my saturation all the way up to 100. Or better yet, put it at 50. Put my saturation at 50. So it stands, hue means the actual color. So if you look here at this color wheel, all of this around here is the actual color. That is your hue. Right? Hue is always going to be the first color on your color wheel or on your color sliders. It's going to be the very first color. So it'll change. It starts at red and it ends at red. That's why the color wheel is set up the way it is. Red here, starts here, and it circles around back to red. You start at red, you end at red. So it goes from red to yellow, green, cyan, ultramarine, so a deeper blue, a eye-burning magenta color, and then back to red. And everything in between is in that gradient space. So you can kind of get all the colors in between these gradient spaces to get the color that you want. That's your hue. Now your saturation, depending on the program, because saturation could be the last one or the first one, your saturation is how much color is actually in your, how much color is actually in your hue. So I'm going to do a new layer, and I'll turn that off for a second, and I'll make a selection around the red. Move it down a little bit. Actually, I'll move it up a little bit. And I'll use my gradient, foreground to background. So right now I have a red that is set to 50% brightness and 100% saturation. I'm going to take my second color, I'm going to set it to 50% luminosity, 0% saturation. And then I'll put it here so that you guys can see. So this is typically what you'll see. Actually, I'll do it this way. Do it this way. There we go. So that's what you'll see. The more pigment that you have, this is at 0. Let me use black. This is 0% saturation. There you go. And this is 100%. So if I pick something like right here, it's going to be a very desaturated red. As compared to 100%, where it's a very saturated red. Yeah, pretty much 0% equals gray. It is void of all color. There is no color in 0% at all. Well, there's no saturation to the color at all. So if you have all of your stuff set to 0, it's going to be black. So this is 0 on both saturation and brightness. If you have it set to 100 on both, it's going to be white. Let me make this just a little darker. There we go. So this is going to be 0% on both. Let me go back over here. This will be 0% on both your saturation and luminosity or brightness or value. And then this is 100% on your luminosity, saturation, and brightness. In between that is going to be this 0% saturation, but 100% luminosity or 50% luminosity or value. Like I said, it's just a matter of where that color is going to be. So if it's at 0, there's going to be no color. If it's at 100, there's going to be a lot of color. Let me get rid of this so I can show you guys the value scale. So the value scale is also important because this is how bright or dark that color is going to be. Let me see if I can get a tricolor in here. Okay. So if we start at black, get a new color in the middle, make that color this, and then make it white. Okay. We'll go right through there. And then that. So this is going to be 0% value. 0% value, luminosity, brightness. And then this would be 100%. So this is like void of light. So I'll write no light here so that you guys can see that. No light. And then this has like all the light. And somewhere in between, right about here, is where you start to get kind of true pigment or true color. Oops, didn't even do that. But you do start to get colors in here, and you stop getting colors right about out there. So all of that is red. This is all red right here. And it's the same goes for the blue and the yellow. Yellow's a bit different because yellow is such a light color that it kind of gets swallowed. And you can't exactly use black and white to shade it or highlight it because it's such a light color that the black and white mixing with yellow just don't work. So I'll show you why. I'll do the same thing. Get this right. There we go. Make sure it's set to 50%. 100. And I'm not doing anything different than I did last time with the gradient up here at the top with the red. It's just gonna be a little different for the purpose of the color. So I don't know how well you can see that, but right in here, the yellow is actually turning green. So I'll select it and you guys can kind of see it. It's kind of turning a greeny color. We'll do the same thing again. Is it still there? Yes. Cool. Do the value scale. Put that back up to 100. There we go. The black. The white. Oops. I want to keep that as inside the box as possible. So again, you start to get this kind of green color. You get a little bit of the green here. Just a little bit. Not a lot. But you also get this kind of hard to describe color where it's still yellow, but it's also white. So it's this kind of like eggshell, creamy color. That's where you get those colors. Down here, on the other hand, you start to get brown. Like right in here is where you start to get brown. So you get kind of these different shades of brown. And the closer in you get, you kind of get more yellows, but you kind of see what I mean, where yellow is a better color to be mixed with like a green. I'll go grab green. Where's my green? Put those back. Turn it back on. Give me my green. Thank you. And as a lighter color, yeah, it might be. It might be because it's a chunkier bar. Do I have my thing? Yes. Okay. So I'm just going to use up here because it's an empty space. I'll use this. But you get better results using colors that aren't black and white for yellow specifically, because yellow is such a hard color. It's not a hard color to utilize. It's just a hard color to shade properly. So you'll see a lot of pieces where the yellow is shaded with a blue, a purple, a red, or orange, everything but black. You'll kind of see that. So you kind of get better color mixes up here. And if I do, here, I'll do a ball. Actually, you know what? I'll come back to that. I'll circle back to it, to make it make sense later. With using black to shade yellow. Black is great for shading other colors. It's just yellow specifically. It just doesn't work right. That's why you shouldn't use black to shade skin, because skin has such a yellow color to it. Not all skin, but skin is such a warm, yellowy brown color that using black to shade it makes the skin look dead. I think that's all I had to say about the hue, saturation, value scales. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to this. So that's what I had to say. The hue is the color, the saturation is how bright that color is, and the luminosity, brightness, and value are how much black or how much white is added to that color. Okay. Next thing. How long have I been going? About an hour? Okay. It's fine. The next thing is the actual mixing of colors. So I will use the just the regular oil. I think the regular oil is fine. Get this brush big and beefy. So I'm going to take blue and I'm going to take red. My primary blue and my primary red. And I'm going to put them here. And kind of show you like how to mix them together. It's very much like, as you can see, this blue is already overpowering the red. But the best part about that is that you can just kind of work them around and mix them together. I like to take the this brush and just kind of play with the brush density or the pen pressure settings, because sometimes that'll help keep it where you need it to be. So that's kind of, yep, see? Black and yellow, just, they're a good color combination. They just don't go together when using colors to work. So what I just did was I just blended two of the primary colors together with a brush tool. That was the oil paint brush. This also works for just regular traditional mediums. Markers are a different thing. I would have to set up a traditional setup to show you guys marker tutorials, and if that's something that you're interested in, just let me know. I'm more than happy to do something like that. But this was just blending the colors together to see what color you get. And you can kind of see that I got a mix of each color that I mentioned. I got a red violet, I got the purple, and I got the blue violet. So this is where things get a little complicated. Not complicated per se, but it gets a little confusing because this is where the colors start to just do what they want to do rather than actually do what you want them to do, right? And this is where I see a lot of this is where the colors stop working the way you want them to. It's especially seen when mixing colors for the skin. If you are not, let me stand up. Hold on. Oh, my back. Okay. If you're mixing colors for skin, this is where you have to be very careful, because those colors can and will absolutely go haywire. Excuse me a second. I'll be right back and we will continue the lesson. Jesus. Oh, I don't know pee. She probably don't even remember who she is. I'm just saying.
Well, it's about the cop, it's about the girl I wanted to let other kids know they shouldn't be afraid of cops.
We shouldn't be.
No, it shouldn't be, but that's too one.
The area
Parents and their elders expose them to.
Okay, I'm back. So while I stepped out, I remembered what I was actually going to do the lesson on, or the next part of the lesson on. So I'm gonna go ahead and get to that. That little mini thing about the color blending is important. Don't think it's not. It is important. It's just we're gonna move on to the next part, which is where my personal notes come in. Hello? Stop. Thank you. So, over the years, I've collected a lot of notes on color theory and color harmony, which is the next part of the lesson, which is color harmony. What colors mean, what they can do, and how you can mix them together to create emotions in a piece. This is why I value limited color palettes, like limited color palette challenges, because they are so useful in understanding which colors mix together well. So I'm going to show you an ugly color mixture or a color combination that just, it doesn't work all the time. So there we go. This is a red that leans a little closer to a pink. Purple. This orangey purple. Or this pinky, like salmon pink. So like that works, right? That's a nice color combination. It's not too forthcoming. It's very nice. Then you add in that. And then you add in that. You see how these two colors here, let me switch over to black. You see how these two colors here completely ruined, like the combination of them completely ruined this color scheme? Even this, where it's just the dark green, works. But adding in these two together completely shot that one in the foot. So that's an example of a color combination that doesn't necessarily work. There are a lot of these. There are a lot of these, and there's a lot of reasons that they don't work. So I will go ahead and read the definitions that I have written down in my notes, and I will probably convert these notes to digital notes so that you guys can download them from my Gumroad. So with color harmony, there's more to choosing effective colors than choosing just what you like. Effective colors go beyond your aesthetic. Harmony means that the aesthetic arrangement of the parts form a pleasing whole. If the science is knowing which colors to use, then the art is knowing what order to put them in and what proportions of each to use. Essentially what that's saying is there is a science, a psychology. Yes, it is because of the saturation. The saturation plays a very strong role in color harmony. Whereas the color itself could have worked, the saturation was way too bright. It was way too high to match up with that color. That's the danger of using saturated colors. There are certain saturated color combinations that work very well. There are certain dull color combinations that work well with a saturated color as an accent. That was one of the examples of a dull color scheme combined with a bright saturated color that just wouldn't work because it just didn't fit well. Like it didn't mesh well together. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and go through these other definitions of different colors and different color schemes. So there are like I said earlier in the stream, there are a ton of different color combinations and color schemes other than primary, secondary, and tertiary. So I'll go ahead and go through those. Light colors are mixtures of the 12 basic colors, which are the colors that I showed you, the primary, secondary, and tertiary, with mixed with white, which lessens the intensity of the colors. So this can be misconstrued as pastel, but they are not pastel colors. Let me pull this over here and show you guys the difference between a light color and a pastel color. A pastel color, much like a light color. Okay, so this is a light color. This might be a little, no, this is fine. So these are light colors. I'm gonna not stack them on top of each other like I normally do. I'm gonna turn this on so you can kind of see where it is. Boom. So these are all light colors. These colors are all, these all have a very specific saturation, or no, luminosity. So these are all at 80%, 83%, my bad, 83% value or luminosity. Meaning that it goes all the way up to 83% light. Pastels, on the other hand, go all the way up to 93. These pastels specifically go all the way up to 93. Wow, stop it. Thank you. Which makes them vastly lighter. You would think that, oh, it's only 10%. It's not going to be that much lighter. But 10% when it comes to pigments and art, not pigments and art, but 10% when it comes to color in art makes a drastic difference. And these are all the same colors. It's just that the luminosity has been bumped up 10%, so it's closer to a light. It's closer to white, essentially. So now I hope you guys can kind of see that difference. This is gonna, I'll write it down on here too. This is 93% value luminosity. So you can kind of see the difference. Whereas this is light. Go ahead and just select that and get rid of it. This is a light color. This is a pastel color. I don't think I have any dull colors. I have earthen colors set up. Earthens or darks, quote unquote. Okay, so these are light colors. This is those are pastel colors, and these next colors that I'm going to show you, I have to fix this. This is out of order, but I'll show it to you guys this way. These are called earthen colors. So they're typically more desaturated, closer to gray, very muddy colors. The definition, as I've written it down, is the mixture of the 12 basic hues with gray, which tends to muddy the colors. So you're going to get these very earthy, rich, desaturated, muddy kind of colors that are useful in a lot of different ways. It's just that they're so deep and so just muddied with gray that you kind of get, you can kind of get the general feel for the hue, but the actual color itself is different. So like if I take this green that I just selected and I crank that saturation all the way up, this is the same saturation, it's just a different color. Yeah, yes, that is a good way to put it. It is the opposite of a pastel. Well, yeah, I would say it is the opposite of a pastel. I would absolutely agree with that statement. Go ahead and get my black. Earthen tones. Okay. Go ahead. This is 25. Oh, that's not the color I want. This is 25% on your value and 32% on your saturation. So as you can see, it is mathematically the opposite of a pastel. It reaches all the way to the opposite side. Now darks are what would really like kick off the perfect opposite. Darks are the mixture of colors with black. So that would fall. I don't have them because I don't personally use them. Let me see if I have them maybe in my resource folder. Because I might. I usually keep color palettes everywhere. Okay, don't have them in the main one. Don't have them in that one. Big palettes, come on, don't let me go. Don't let me down, don't let me down. Is this it? Hey. Okay. So I did find it. I found my old color, my old color charts, which I will send. I have an old color chart that I used a while ago. And it has neons, brights, washed, pastel, baby pastel, darks, mustards, and earthens. I have to switch the mustards and earthens because those are not accurate anymore. So, darks are essentially the same thing as this, as the earthen, but with a little bit less value. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do it the easy way. Hello? Thank you. Do it this way. Boom. Go ahead and erase that. And just do this. So the saturation's at 25 now. We want to knock it down to oh no, the saturation's at 32. Saturation doesn't have to change. There it is. So these are called darks. These are the colors that are mixed with black. Oh, they're 15 now? Okay. Thought I would have went lower than that. Okay. Whatever, it's fine, it's fine. So these are darks. These have a 15% value, as well as a 32% saturation. Value. What are the saturation on these? 100%. Oop. 100% saturation. Same with you? Yes. Okay. So that's like the first 4 color sets. Now we're going to go to the next set. I'm just going to name it set 1. Set 2. Okay, next set is the basics. The basic colors are the colors that I showed you earlier. They're the primary, secondary, tertiary colors. Those are all 12 of those. I'm just going to put them all on one sheet, you know? Just get them all lined up like I have the others. So, We'll start with red and then we'll end at purple, red, or red, purple. We'll start with red, violet, and then we'll end at purple. Makes it easier. Red, orange, orange, yellow, orange, yellow, yellow, green, 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 blue, blue, there we go. These are the basics. These are typically I try to keep them set at 50%. Yeah. These are the basics. So they can range anywhere from 40% to 50% on the saturation, and anywhere from 34 I'm seeing to 50, 52. Yeah, 30, 34 to 52. But these are all basic colors. No, these specifically, the ones that you're seeing on screen right now aren't 50-50, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a 50-50 underneath it so that you can see the kind of difference between a 50-50 and what is up there. Because I think the reason I have them set not to be 50-50 is because the colors will just be like all over the place. So this will be like the 50-50 basic colors underneath. Okay. That's why we don't do 50-50 all the time. Yeah. The colors are way different now. So keeping your basics, the basics not being 50-50 is fine. But this is what your 50-50 looks like compared to your basics. 50-50s can be really useful. So I'm going to leave them on here. And I'm just going to label them 50-50s. But sometimes 50-50 is not the option that you want to go for. And sometimes 50-50 doesn't exactly show you the true color that you're looking for. Your red becomes like a pink, your yellow becomes like a browny green, your purple becomes just magenta. It's not exactly what you're looking for. You're looking for purple, not magenta. You're looking for red, not pink. You're looking for orange, not salmon. You're looking for yellow green, not neon green. It's one of those type of things. But I will include it just in case they become useful to somebody down the line. Basics. Okay, so those are the basic colors. The next set is the achromatic colors, which are just shades of black and gray. Excuse me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my intermediate color panel, and I'm just going to put black in one corner, and I'm going to put white in another corner. And then I'll just show you. Do I have to do that? Yes, because I don't have the black to white gradient on my computer. I have to put that back in. So these are just like 10% steps, I think. Yeah. 8, 16, 25. 10% steps work, but they don't always give you the results that you want. So, excuse me. So it's easier to just kind of use math to like divide in half how far you are from a certain color. I know right here it looks like I did nothing, but it's just that the color of the background is the same as the color of this. I'll go ahead and make it just like a touch darker. Hello? There. Now you can kind of see all of them. But these are the achromatic colors. The achromatic colors are colors that are void of any pigment or any hue. So they have no color to them whatsoever. Achromatic pigments or achromatic colors, values, it's a value scale essentially, are actually pretty useful when it comes to making a monochromatic color scheme. So what I'm going to show you is I'm going to show you the I'll use this color. No, I'll use this. Yeah, I'll use this color. So I'll use this really neon, vibrant, seafoamy green kind of color. And I'm just going to fill in over top of that. And I'm going to set it to clip to the layer below. And then I'm going to set the layer mode to color. As you can see, we just made a whole value scale for that seafoam green color. That's the use in an achromatic color scheme. You can find a value scale for a certain color group super quick. If I lock this and I fill it in, and I fill it in with red, now it's red. I can go ahead and get like a gold, now it's gold. I can get a blue, now it's blue. And you get literally a whole value scale of those colors. Just a cool tip as far as colors go. So that's achromatic. Like I said, achromatic means that it's void of color. Oops. Um, the achromatic color scheme, like I said, it ranges. You will never have any saturation. Saturation will always be at 0. But the steps are going to go up by half every time. So it's going to go 8, then double it to 16. Then 16 doubled is not 25, but it's going to go up to the next set, which is going to be 25. Then from 25, it's going to go 33, 33 to 42, 42 to 50, 50 to 58, 58 to 67, 67 to 75. Then it's going to go 83, 92, and then I'll just throw pure white in there because it's good to have a pure white. Then it's just pure white. Okay. So it's going to be divisible by 8. So it's going to go up 8 every quarter. So every quarter it's going to start at 0, then 25, then 50, then 75, then 100. In between those quarters, it's going to go up by 8 every time, up until it gets to the quarter. What's the next one? Achromatic. Aha. Okay, so this is what I was talking about earlier with CMYK. CMYK is called a process color. Process colors are the colors that are used in the printing process. See? Makes sense. 1 and 1. So, there we go. So, CMYK, or cyan, magenta, and yellow, cyan, magenta, yellow, and black are used in 4-color printing. And the combination of these colors can create any of the 96, which I think has been upped recently. It's more than 96 now. Any of the 96 basics can be simulated with CMYK. Not 1 for 1, simulated. It's not going to be exact. It's going to be close, but not perfect. Okay. So I'll show you what CMYK looks like on the screens. So if you do 100% on the cyan, or no, black, that's black. Oh, okay. Okay. So I think you guys can see it. In the upper left-hand corner by the chat, there is a bar that has a cyan, magenta, yellow, and black. If you turn the cyan all the way up, you're going to get a almost perfect cyan, which is going to be your C. You turn that back down to 0, you go all the way up, you're going to get your magenta, which is your M. You go back down, you pull up your yellow, you're going to get your yellow, which is your Y. And then you pull that back down, you go all the way up, and you're going to get your black, which is your K. Right? So you have your C, M, Y, K. These are entirely process colors. You can use them in different color schemes. They look amazing digitally. Yes, K stands for black. I don't remember why exactly, but K does stand for black. I think it had something to do with the systems not being able to process B, because B represented something else at the time. So you have CMYK. which if you look at Star Pirate, her stuff has loads of CMYK color schemes, and they always look good. Like, almost always. Not even almost always. They usually always look good. Because that color scheme works so well together on its own. It doesn't need... No, there is no blue in CMYK. And I don't think blue was represented digitally at the time that CMYK came into play. I think it was just a processing error that was happening with certain things. I'll have to look it up. I'll look it up and then I'll put the note. I'll put it in the notes that I'm gonna release. Okay. So those are the different colors and different color schemes that you can kind of get. You have your basics, your pastels, your darks, your earths, your achromatic, your 50/50 basics, your and your CMYK. I'm sure there's more. I showed you monochromatic as well. Monochromatic goes from one color all the way to the other color with no stops in between, pretty much. But it's just, monochromatic is literally just a value scale of the color that you pick. There's no other colors involved. There's no other hues involved. It's just that one hue all the way through. Okay. The next thing that I'm going to show you is colors and their meanings, which I feel like is very important because a lot of people use colors and then they just don't know what those colors mean or what those colors represent for people or for in general at a psychological level. There's a lot of psychology that goes into color. And that's where I think people kind of trip and stumble because they want to use certain colors to evoke certain emotions in their art, but they're missing the mark as far as those colors go. So it's kind of like, I want somebody to feel, I want their attention. I want them to be alert to what is going on the screen. I want them to be alert as to what is going on with this specific item in the piece. And they kind of use a color that doesn't evoke that emotion. Right? So, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to read these off, and then later I'll show you guys what that means. So I'm going to go ahead and get my marquee tool. Go ahead and switch back over to this 50%. So we're going to start with red, and then we'll move all the way down to, what is the last color I have listed? Black. Now, in these notes, I had no notes for orange. So orange was one of those colors that I just had no notes for, which is upsetting. Okay, so if you know anything about color theory and the history of color theory, you'll know that red is one of those colors that you see almost everywhere when it comes to food. A red Solo cup, McDonald's color scheme used to be red and yellow, so on and so forth. And I'll explain why. There's a psychology behind it. Okay. So, red evokes passion. It attracts attention, and actually, some believe that it speeds up the metabolism. I think I think more so. I think it more so picks up the heart rate more than the metabolism, because it's such a fast color. It's such a passionate color. It makes your heart kind of pound. It's like, oh my God, that color, I don't know what it is, but it's making me feel a lot of emotions all at once. It's popular with younger kids, between the age of, I want to say, 6 and 16. Red is a very popular color. Along with pink, when you mix it with pink, it is frequently associated with romance. Deep red has a meaning of aristocracy. So it's a very high color. It's a very high-end color. It's a very big color. It's one of those colors that just like says, I am important. Right? So that's what red is. Next color is yellow. Yellow, yellow, yellow. That's perfect. Boom. Yellow. Yellow is a very lively, happy color. It's very happy. It's very excited. People tend to get tired of yellow very quick. That's why a lot of people don't like yellow, because it's such an energetic color. It's also a very oppressive color. It's a very heavy color to deal with. Pale yellow feels very breezy, very spring-like. So this combination of colors, red and yellow, usually together brings about a passionate excitement. Hence why a lot of food places use red and yellow, because it's going to make you passionate and excited, because you don't know what you're going to get when you go into that establishment. You don't know what you're going to get when you walk in and you're like, I'm now hungry, right? Okay. The next color is green. Not that specific green, but just green in general. All greens. Green can be seen as tranquil or pastoral. Bright green means spring. A deep green is eloquent. It brings this deep quiet, like in the forest. It brings the deep quiet of the forest to you without you actually having to go into the forest. It reminds us of mildew, poison, jealousy, but it also reminds us of nature, life, organic matter. It's a very organic color. Blue is the next color. So blue is a very calming color. It's a very calming color, but it's also a very powerful color. It's a very overwhelming color. It's strongest after a red. Light blue is a very young, very sporty color, whereas royal and navy blue has a very dignified, wealthy feeling to it. The next color is purple. Purple is a very sophisticated color. It's very much associated with royalty. It's a very artificial color. I have opinions on that. I'm not going to get into it. It's a very quote unquote artificial color, and it's a bit hard to take as a color. The reason that purple is typically associated with royalty is because back when pigments were becoming a thing, and there was the pigment trade from India, the only people that could really afford purple pigments were royalty, the people with money, the people that had the funds to purchase these very high-end, very sought-after pigments. Hence why it's related so closely to royalty. Right? The next color is brown. Brown. I don't think I have a brown in my personal set of colors. Okay, so brown, much like orange and much like green, are very natural colors. It's very rich and fertile, like soil. It's also very sad and wistful. Light browns, tans, and beiges give fabric a rustic, natural look, whereas dark brown suggests opulence. Opulence. There we go. It suggests opulence. It suggests something higher than human. It's a very opulent color. It's a very, like, higher color. That's why you see a lot of that color used for different things, like, I don't know how to explain it. Like high priestesses in villages. You'll see it a lot in my comic, where you start to get into the villages and you get to meet high priestesses and priests and all this stuff, and very, like, bigger people in the villages and in the societies that are kind of melded into the story. You'll see them wearing a lot of brown. You'll see them wearing a lot of orange. You'll see them wearing a lot of greens. This is the general feeling of being a higher power. Is there another color? Yeah, okay. There's black and there's white. Two colors that I don't necessarily agree with the definitions of, but who am I to judge people from the long, long ago? White. There we go. White is typically associated with purity, with innocence. Yeah, I'm drawing, God. I am. I'm absolutely drawing. It's usually... No, I'm doing a lesson on color theory. It's usually... White is usually associated with purity, innocence, peace. You'll see it in a lot of places like hospitals. You'll see it in a lot of places you'll see it in places that are very sterile. You'll see it especially during winter. A lot of people start to wear white more. White makes things look expensive. I'll go through and I'll explain orange later. I'm just going through what I have in my notes right now. White makes things look expensive or entirely disposable. There's no in between for white. But it's literally, it's either way too high price, or you could just get it and throw it out at a moment's notice. Hence why you see wedding dresses are white. Not only are wedding dresses white because of the purity, innocence, and peace of the color, but it makes it look more expensive than it is. when countries started to lean heavy into capitalism, that is when white became a standard for wedding dresses. Because it was expensive to have white fabric. Because white fabric has to be processed into white. It can't just be made white. You can't just get fabric materials to make fabric and it be white. It's not going to be white. It's going to be like a beige. It'll be exactly. It'll be a beige. It'll be a natural color, not white. So it's either going to look super expensive, like a wedding dress, or super cheap and disposable, like I don't know, like gloves, or a bib, or masks. The next color, hey, t-shirts are leaning more on that expensive side, not gonna lie. The next color is black. And black is typically used to represent like nighttime, the unknown, something that you can't necessarily place. Death. It's often linked with evil, and its unorthodox appearance makes it popular with artists. It also represents wealth and elegance, because again, yes, thank you, mystery. It's also associated with wealth and elegance because the pigment for black was so expensive that only the rich could afford it. Same thing as purple. Black and purple are like one and the same. Black and purple are usually associated with either evil, death, or being real rich. Real-time research. Okay, I have orange up now. Let's just use this one. Yeah. Well, no. Purple was able... yeah, I'll say like in the last 100 years, purple as a pigment was able to be produced in the US. Yeah. Most purple was not... Well, most purple overseas was produced by snails, but purple in the US for, I want to say like 200 or 300 years was produced by plants, but it wasn't a perfect purple like the way that they would produce it with snails. I guess after years of trial and error, they finally got it down to the point where they can just be like, yes, this is purple, this is perfect. It's one of those pigments that's just like, yeah, you really don't need to make it as expensive as it is. Napkins, there you go. Napkins and paper towels, something quick and disposable. Okay, so orange. I finally have the meaning of orange. I'm going to have to put it in my notes somewhere. But I have the meaning of orange. Orange is the color of enthusiasm and emotion. Orange exudes a warmth and joy and is considered a fun color that provides emotional strength. It's a very optimistic color. It's very uplifting. It adds a spontaneity and positivity to the life of your piece and encourages communication and creativity. It's also a very youthful color and and when used in a negative manner, it's also a very superficial color. It's a very impatient color, and it's also a dominating color. Hence the use of yellow and orange sometimes in conjunction to meaning fear. Let me just double check that. That's not what I wanted. Yeah. Yellow, orange, and black, meaning fear. Not fire, fear. Yeah, well, yeah, no, that's exactly. Yes. Orange, yellow, black, and red in conjunction with each other, meaning fear. So, Dylan's right. The analogy of fire. Fire is not fun. Nobody likes fire, except maybe arsonists and pyromaniacs. Like an arsonist or a pyromaniac. Anyway, so that's orange. So those are the colors and their psychological meanings. Let me give me a second. I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of this cup. And probably grab a Pop-Tart because I haven't eaten yet. Only a little bit of arson. Only a little bit. That's why I don't want to cook. Oh God, did you hear her? Yeah, that's my bird. She's very loud and obnoxious. Most of the time. Okay. I'm just gonna open this up. Let me grab these sheets. Let me quickly retweet this. All right. We're back at it. So, there are different color schemes that you can there are different color schemes that you can use. And it's actually very easy to use them. When you're describing your piece, what color scheme would you want to use? So if you're doing a forest scene, would you want to use a cooler color scheme or a warmer color scheme? So, the color schemes themselves go from the first, which is hot, which refers to full red, which refers to red in full saturation. These colors are very strong and affect people in many ways, aka rising blood pressure. So if I switch this back to red, go to my gradient, get rid of this yellow, get a marquee, go back to my gradient. That would be considered a hot color scheme because you're using the blue or the bluish green and the red in full saturation. That is hot. On the other side of the spectrum, though, is using a blue, which is called a cold color scheme, a fully saturated blue. These colors are very slow and calm, and when they are placed next to a hot color scheme, they vibrate. So if I turn if I do this and I use cool colors, oops, ooh, I got myself, guys. Yeah, they vibrate. Watch. Let me just get the right colors. There we go. If I reselect it and then I just move them closer. The reason that they vibrate is because the cones in our eyes are trying to distinguish why those colors are the way that they are. Like it's trying to take, like, oh, blue, red, blue, purple. You gotta get those colors. And they're not trying to, like, mix and mash and, like, overlap them. So they're mixing them together and pushing them together, and your brain's just like, oh, that's moving. That's pretty much why they vibrate. Okay. The next color scheme is called a warm color scheme, which are all the hues that contain red to yellow. Exactly. Warm colors are all the hues between red and yellow. The addition of yellow makes warms different from hots. Warms are very comforting, spontaneous, welcoming, and warms radiate outward. So I'll show you guys a warm color scheme really quick. Marquee. Radiant. Use midday. There we go. That's a warm color scheme. That's a color scheme that is warm and inviting. It radiates outward, but it's very just vibrant and bright. On the opposite end of that, you have a cool color scheme. These cool color schemes are based in blue. And again, the addition of yellow changes their composition entirely. Cool color schemes create a warm sense of renewal. Soothing and calm cools create a sense of depth and comfort. Let me see if I gotta have one. And I'll show you guys on the color wheel what that means. So that would be considered a cool color scheme. So let me show you what the warm colors and the cool colors are on the color wheel. So if we put our colors back where they belong, let me turn this off. Okay. So your warm colors and your cool colors pretty much line up exactly where you would think they would line up. There it is. So from yellow to red violet are warm colors. Let me get the line tool. So essentially it would mark Oops. There we go. It would be about like that. Sorry, hold on. I look like a damn conspiracy theorist over here. Boom. There we go. Here's what I'm gonna do. Here's what I'm gonna do, because this is starting to frustrate me. There. There. And there. This might make it a little easier for you guys to look at too. So if I go and put this here, and this here, that works. Move the red violet in, move you in, move you out. There. Less of a headache. Okay. So, yellow-green is considered a cool color. So everything... Oops. Wrong thing. There we go. Boom. So these are considered your cool colors. And these are considered your warm colors. And they are pretty even. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you have your warms and your cool colors. Hence why these are considered what they are. This is considered a warm scheme, and this is considered a cool scheme. And as you saw before, hot and cold are literally just saturated red and saturated blue. Turn the color wheel off now and turn that off. Put my color wheel back up on my wall. Get back up there. There we go. So the other colors I've already gone over in the beginning of the stream. It's the light, dark, pale, and bright. That was the difference between the pastel and the light. Pale is considered pastel. In these notes, they kind of contradict themselves, but light and pastel are both technically pastels, but the pastels are nearly devoid of any hue. It's almost 65% white and has a very how do I put it? It's devoid of light. Let's just leave it there. I'll just read off the actual emotional definitions of these color schemes that you can see on the screen right now. So light is there are no emotional definitions. I don't have any emotional definitions of light colors. I have emotional definitions of dark. So dark, which is the one on the very bottom, are I'll just read what I wrote because I'm trying to like make it sound not stuffy and like book definition, but it's kind of hard to do that with this because it's the way that I write is the way that I speak, so it's kind of hard. These colors close up in spaces make them feel smaller. So pushing these colors together is just going to make them look smaller than they are. Darks are very concentrated and serious in their effects. So these are the colors that you would see in a very serious scene. The colors will go very deep, very dark, and very serious. Combining light and dark is common for a dramatic representation of opposites in nature. So you'll see very dark greens, like leaves, like in a nature scene. You'll see like the leaves and stuff, very, very dark. But then you'll see a flower with a very light color scheme. And it adds that contrast and that opposition to make the flower stand out more. Pales, which are considered the pastels, are the softest colors, bordering on transparent. They are usually referred to as soft or romantic and suggest a gentleness. These can be seen in nature. No, it means that hold on a second. It means that the lights are used in a way that is less serious. They're used in a more day-to-day, everyday kind of way. They're used in things like clothing. They're used in things like, where would you see them? In nature, you'd see them in more like flowers. And it's because they're very welcoming colors. Whereas darks can be very dramatic and they can very much turn you away from the colors that they have. Pastels, on the other hand, are the exact opposite of darks, whereas lights fall right in between dark and pastel. So, like, they're not serious, but they aren't fully serious like a dark color is. Brights, which are the basics, I'll turn this off and turn this on. Basic colors are the pure pigment, pure hue, nothing is altered, they are all pure color. They are very clear, they evoke a lot of clarity. They are also very vivid and attract attention. They are also very exhilarating and cheerful. So you'll see these colors used in a lot of ways where it's just like bright, fast paced. Everything is like clear. You know where you're going and where you're where you're coming from. That's what those colors are like. Okay. All right. The next part of the lesson are just basic color schemes that you can use. Let me get my mouse. Thank you. I'd get in so much trouble if I bought this shirt, Dylan. Okay. I want one too. I'm not gonna lie. I really want one too, but I'd get in so much trouble down here if I wore that shirt. Okay. It is. It is. It's a shit post in a freaking shirt form. Okay. I'm gonna focus up again. So, here we go. These are just basic color schemes that you can use and or will see in every day, right? So you have your achromatic. I'm just going to use these 4 colors in the middle. 1, 2, 3, 4. So your achromatic color schemes are without color, uses only black, white, and gray. The next color scheme, which is a very basic color scheme, is an analogous color scheme. An analogous color scheme uses 3 consecutive hues or any of their tints and shades on the color wheel. So, I'm going to read the definition on the back of my actual color wheel. It says, analogous colors, using colors that are adjacent to each other on the color wheel, use at least 2 but no more than 5 consecutive colors on the color wheel. Examples are yellow green, green, blue, and blue violet. So, where's my... I hate that. The Color Wheel Company. I do not remember how to figure out. Okay. They're the colors that are next to each other on the color wheel. And they usually, I want to say like 90% of the time, look good. So if I were to take my basic colors, excuse me, we use this one. There we go. Turn off. Analogous. Boom. So those are usually colors that are right next to each other on the color wheel. I'm going to start using this. Yeah. The next one are clashing colors. These are the colors that, this is a color combination with the hue to the right or left of its complement on the color wheel. So if you were to take red and go from red down to its complement, which is green, and you were to go to the left or right of green, that would be your clashing color scheme. So I'm going to do the red and the blue-green. Red. And I'll use this blue-green. This one. Oops. So on the color wheel, so if we go to the color wheel here, and I'll put this here so I can make it a little bit bigger. So if you look at the color wheel, whatever color is directly across from the color that you're currently selected on, that is going to be your complementary color. There are complementary color schemes, and I will give them to you because it's a lot easier to have them on hand than to try and figure them out. This is not the best example because digital color wheels are a little different. But if I open up the color wheel we made earlier, I really should just put them all in a damn circle. Yeah, I'm going to put them all in a circle here. Go ahead and do that really quick. Boom. Oops. Okay. This makes it a lot easier for me to draw lines in between. There. So this is our color wheel. I'm going to delete that. And I'll use that. Oh, it's still in order. Cool. I am going to clean it up, though. Not teal and orange, teal and red. Teal and red are clashing. it's not a Star of David. It's just connections to tell you which colors are which with the little thing up here. Okay. So I will add complementary, if I can spell. And I will use a dark purple. There we go. Only cowboys are allowed to use complementary colors now. Didn't you know? There we go. Not my cleanest work. I'm actually going to undo it and redo it. Yeah, good enough. Cool. So complementary colors are colors that are opposites on the color wheel. I'm just gonna move this down a little bit. There we go. So they're opposites on the color wheel. So red and green, blue and orange, yellow and purple. Those are complementary colors. Blue, violet, and yellow, orange, red, orange, and teal, red, violet, and yellow, green. Those are all complementary colors because they complement each other, hence the name. Turn this back off. Actually, turn that back on so I can get the colors. Red, green, yellow, purple, blue, orange. Now I can turn them back off. These are colors that complement each other well in a composition. Monochromatic is the use of one hue in combination with any or all of its tints and shades. Tints and shades are the values that you get from the colors. So if you add more white, you're going to get a tint. If you add more black, you're going to get a shade. Go ahead and get that written down for you. And I'll use the exact same. Not grayscale. Grayscale implies that there is gray involved in the color scheme. There is no gray involved in this. Monochromatic, mono meaning one, chromatic meaning color. So one color. Achromatic, A meaning no, chromatic meaning color. No color. It's not, still not grayscale. Okay. So the next one is neutral. Neutral uses hues which have diminished or neutralized by its complement or black. So a neutral color scheme would be if I took red and put it into my intermediate color panel, and green if I put it into my intermediate color panel. You'll get a neutral color scheme. Actually, next one is split complementary. This is going to be a triangle rather than a straight line. A split complementary, where did I put my colors? Uses any color with the two colors on each side of its complement. For example, green will use red orange and red violet rather than just red. So I will add a new layer and show you guys what that means. So green, it'll work on any color on the color wheel. Any color at all. So if I take green, it'll match up with red violet, red orange, and it'll go right back to green. If I take blue violet, it'll match up with orange, yellow, and go right back to blue violet. If I take yellow orange, it'll go to purple, blue, and back to yellow orange. Essentially what it is if you take your opposite, if you take your complementary color, which is exact opposite, and you use the two colors on the left and right, I'm pointing at my screen like you guys can see me. If you take your your main color, which in this case I'll use yellow orange, and you go to its opposite, which is its complement, you go to the left, you'll get purple. You go to the right, you'll get blue. That will be your split complementary color scheme. So if I turn that back on and kind of rearrange, because we are kind of getting a little messy here. Stop it. Okay. I did not mean to do that. What is it? What? Okay, there. I cleaned it up. Now I can go ahead and grab the colors that I needed. There we go. Okay. The next are colors that I've gone over in the beginning, but I'll go over them again. Primary is a combination of the pure hues of red, yellow, and blue. Those are your primary colors. Red, yellow, blue. Next would be secondary, which are the colors opposite of primary, using the pure pigment or the mixed pigment of green, orange, and purple. Green, purple, and orange, however you want to do it. And these are called your secondary colors. monochromatic. The next one is called a tertiary triad, which is going to be a tertiary triad is one or two combos, all of which are equidistant from each other on the color wheel. Think of an equilateral triangle. So if we go back to our color wheel, primary and secondary do not count in this. What will count, and I will go ahead and delete that so that I can show you guys. If I go ahead and use my polygon tool, set it to 30, and only use, 3. Set the line width to 30. Oops. Okay, I realize that it's not set to start at center, which is annoying. There we go. Start from center. Thank you. Haha, I got it. There we go. Rotate it just a little bit. There we go. That would be called a tertiary triad. It is the three colors in the tertiary color sections that meet up in an equal triangle. So go ahead and get that. And it's always going to be your tertiary colors. It's not going to be your, oops, that explains that. It's never going to really be your primaries or your secondary colors. It's always going to be your tertiaries. Hence the name tertiary triad. Okay. I don't know if they have a name. Let's see. Colors after. Okay. So there are colors after tertiary. The sequence goes quaternary, quinary, centenary, septenary, octonary, nonary, and denary. Daenerys. And then you can keep going on and on and on and on and on and on and on. But typically cuts off right at duodenary. Duodenary. Duodenary? Yeah, duodenary. Because that's the highest. It's 12. I'm sure you can go past 12, but that's 12. I don't have that in my notes because I really wasn't thinking about it. But yes. They do. Yeah, it's literally the colors. When you're thinking about what comes after, it's literally just the colors mixing together to create new colors. So if you take your red, orange, and your orange and you mix that together, that's going to be a quaternary. If you take that color and orange and mix it together, that's going to be your quinary. If you take that color and mix it with orange again, you're going to get your centenary, then your septenary, and then your octenary, and then your nonary. And it goes up and up and up. Honestly, I have not mixed those colors together because I've been doing it for a while, so I really haven't needed to. But I'm sure I've used the colors before. So this would be your quaternary color between orange and red-orange. I think I had red-orange selected. Hold on. Yeah. So this would be that color. Let me put the music back on. This would be that color. Then you can take that color and put it in and get the next color up. Then you could take that color and get the next color. Then that color and get the next color. Eventually, you're going to hit a point where you're just getting orange. Oh, shit. My bad. Is it changing? It is. Yeah. At a certain point, you're just getting the same color over and over and over again. And I think you could get at least 12 colors mixed between those colors. Yes, exactly. Well, good afternoon, game. We're doing a lesson on color theory. But yeah, you're right, Dylan. As you go on and on, it gets more subtle and subtle, like as the color changes. Getting a little hat. The next one is, I think, where we start to kind of get into the vibes of these color mixes. Okay. So I'm going to turn this one off because this is all just like basic color mixes. The next set is going to be like color mixes that have a certain feeling to them, that evoke a certain feeling in the viewer. So they can be moving, but they won't move at all. Like the hot and cool colors when they're next to each other, it's not going to be like that. Okay. So, the first one we have is striking. Striking colors are colors that are striking and nearly jump off the page. They're very eye-catching, and they typically use red in these combinations. Red makes things get makes things larger and closer. A striking scheme should contrast light colors with dark colors. So I'm just going to use the color wheel, grab the colors, and then I'll put it onto the page. Because I feel like that's the best way to get the colors. It's a little too red. Oops. Wow. There we go. Then you have, oh, okay. You have this purple, which is a little bit desaturated. And then this purple. Like the yellow of a school bus. I think it would be considered a striking color, but not a striking color combination. The next one we have is tranquil, which is the exact opposite of striking. It uses a lot of cool colors like blue and green, secondary colors like green, turquoise, and purple. It's very pale and light, like pink or pale baby blues. Gray is also considered a tranquil color. Tranquils work best in curves, large areas, or nature, and it conveys a sense of quiet familiarity. So you kind of have this like desaturated baby blue, a very soft desaturated purple, kind of a lavendery color. Then you have a pink. It's very, very desaturated but soft. And then you have this kind of natural green color. And that is considered a tranquil color scheme. Ooh, can I write? All right. Next up is an exciting color scheme. These color schemes typically make use of red again, and it uses unusual secondary colors. So like yellow, orange, pale green, purple, and magenta. So colors you would find in babies' bedrooms. Yes, exactly. Exciting colors are also very warm to add more excitement. Secondary colors are also more exciting because they are unusual. They tend to clash, and they have a heightened sense of motion. Use darks to mediate these hues. So if we have like a red, because these are the colors I have on the page right now in front of me. Use a red, like right there. That's a good red. Yellow. Little more towards orange, a little warmer. A yellow. A blue. A little deeper. A deeper blue. And a purple. So these colors will typically remind you of a child's bedroom. Same with Tranquil. Tranquil will remind you of a baby's bedroom, like Dylan just said. And this is considered an exciting, oops, color scheme. Okay. The next one is a natural color scheme. These are often subtle and complex hues, often dark and muted, include at least one bright color, not too bright, or you will overwhelm all of the colors in the scheme. So you would have something like a kind of desaturated blue-green. Get that on the page. A very deep desaturated green, which can also be considered your bright. A deep desaturated yellow-green, not too desaturated or too dark, because then it won't seem like a yellow. And then you have this kind of blush pink color that's a little bit more towards red, which would be counted as your bright color. And this would be considered a natural color scheme. Okay. Next, we have warm color schemes. I showed you what the warms were. Definitely, I 100% recommend that when you are drawing, or even if you are coloring something, like you found a coloring page that you really like, it was free to color, make sure that you have a color scheme in mind and then create the color palette for that. So we talked about warms and cools earlier. I showed you what they were on the color wheel, but I'm going to show you what they look like as a color palette. Because they do look very different than they do look on the color wheel. So warms use colors like orange, yellow, pink, brown, and burgundy. They typically do not use reds in a warm color scheme, and that is where the difference comes in. Warm colors have red included. A warm color scheme does not. Green and gray are cool colors, but when tinted with yellow or red as a tint for the green or the gray, it becomes a warm color. Even blue can be warm if you tint it with a pale greenish hue. Warms tend to overpower cools 100%. So if I go ahead and grab some colors, this is a warm yellow, like a kind of school busy yellow, a reddish orange, leaning a little closer to red, a bright yellow green, a lime green. You don't want it too. Nope, it's not green enough. There we go. That's a little better. A greenish blue, something like that, and then more bluish, like that. So that would be considered a warm color scheme. So cool color schemes, I have like a crap ton of notes on. So we're going through it, all right? Because it does go very ham sandwiches with those notes. Okay. So a cool color scheme uses colors like blue, green, purple, and gray. It creates a cold feeling. It's very cold and foreboding. It reminds us of artificial man-made structures like buildings, robots, cars, computers, stuff like that. It brings to mind feelings of alienation, impersonality, and loneliness because they're such somber colors. There's a positive side to it, which cool color schemes, they look very nice. They're very refreshing and they're very sanitary, so they're very clean color schemes. The exception to this is pale pink, as it is mostly white, which is considered a cool color. Dependable colors within cool color schemes are pale icy greens and blues, sky blues, aquamarine, dark green, navy blues. Yep, exactly. You can use warms to create a tropical island, a grassland, a desert, whereas you can use cool colors to create cityscapes, urban landscapes, neighborhoods, stuff that has been touched by humans. You can use that to kind of make yourself make your pieces. Sorry, it's just very loud. You can use those colors to create those pieces and get the effect that you're looking for. So, let's make a cool color scheme really quick. I'm actually going to move that a little bit. I'm actually going to get rid of these two colors because it's just a lot. It's a lot of color on one page. There we go. So a cool color scheme would be if I take a blue, something like that, yeah. Blue, a purple that's a little lighter and desaturated. I'll do an icy green kind of color. Keep it a little desaturated. And then a pink. Very pale pink. There we go. That would be a cool color scheme. The next one would be a, there's so many, but we're getting through them. That's a good thing. The next one would be called a surprising color scheme. These colors or combinations are not seen every day. Think like Miami Vice, purple and turquoise. These are usually process colors, so CMYK colors. These schemes are startling and unconventional, and a lot of new wave art uses it. These are hues that contrast their natural brightness and are seen as surprising. Dark yellow, dark orange, very pale green, and pale blue. Same goes for combos with no contrast at all. Blue with green, magenta with purple, magenta with red, and orange with yellow. go ahead and get you guys a couple of those. Okay. The next one is called a powerful color scheme. These color schemes are usually full of excitement, always associated with red. Red is the ultimate power color. Symbols of our strongest emotions. How many colors can you have in one palette? It depends on the piece that you're making. If your piece calls for a lot of colors, then your piece is going to have a very big palette. Let me see if I can open a piece and show you. I have a few pieces that don't have very big palettes. I have a few pieces that have huge palettes. That would be a great example, but I don't want to use that exactly. Let's see, 2019. Perfect, okay. So I have two pieces here. One piece uses a very big palette. I think I used a little over 60 or 70 colors. The other just uses like 10 or 12. Get those two open so you guys can see. So this is my Nessa piece. It is super limited. I used the same blue in her hair to shade her sides. Let me turn this. No, that can stay on. I used the same orange from her beads and her top to shade her head, or to shade her body and her outlines. Oh, no, that's not it. Yeah, everything is on one layer. But I only used the colors that were base colors for her. So the black of her hair, the blue of her hair, the black of the line art is the same black as the top. The skin tone, I used the skin tone to shade the color, to shade her skin. I used the skin tone to highlight her skin. So that was a really, really limited palette, right? With this one, let me close this. With this one, I used a crap ton of colors. There's purple in the water. You can kind of see there's some purple in the water here. There's blues, there's reds, there's greens, there's the character itself is purple with a little bit of red in the ears, and the eyes are kind of a gold color. There's red, there's blues mixed in with the purple. I used a lot of colors in this piece, but the piece ultimately feels warm. If I were to flip the sky and make it like a nighttime piece, that's another thing. The time of day in your piece can alter how that color is going to work. So if I were to go back into the sky part and switch it to the exact opposite on the hue scale, that feels like a cool piece now. The piece is completely cool instead of being warm. You see what I mean? So warm, cool. If I were to take it and I were to switch it halfway it'll become very cold. But it'll still be warm because it has that pink in it, right? So to answer your question, you can use as many colors as you need to use or want to use, and it's still going to have a cohesive color palette. If your character is warm and the background is cool, it's going to have a different contrast to it. But if you use the colors around the character, like those warm colors in the background, and incorporate it into the coolness of the character, then you're going to have that character and the background unite in a really cohesive way. Where was I? Powerful colors, yes. Powerful colors are full of excitement and control, always associated with red. Red is like the ultimate power color, quote unquote. It symbolizes our strongest emotions, and it represents emotional overdrive. It's used to send a strong message of vitality and awareness, and it almost always attracts attention. So in that case, if we were to take a red, oops, that's black. If we were to take red, we're going to take an orange. We're going to take a deeper green and a pink. No, we'll do a deep red. That's a powerful color combination. Right? Because the colors are exciting. They're bold. They're very loud. So you have all this, like, these colors where you're like, you're kind of hyped up to see these colors. And you're like, oh man, these colors they're up here. They're on a full 30. Like from 0. They're on a full freaking 30. That's what those colors kind of elicit. Let's see. Next are, oh boy. These are called rich colors. They are the color combo. They combo a powerful hue with a darkened complementary. So a deep burgundy signifies wealth. Burgundy and deep forest green and gold suggest affluence. And they always reveal a sense of wealth and status. So this color scheme is always going to seem like a very rich, wealthy color scheme. Go ahead and get that going. Get this burgundy. No, wrong color. There we go. So a burgundy. That's less of a burgundy, more of a maroon. Give me a burgundy. There we go. That's a burgundy right there. A burgundy, a deep forest green, purple, and gold. Navy red, yes. And that's called a rich color scheme. This is a color scheme that you'll see on like a lot of royalty, like in a lot of castles, a lot of kings and queens will wear these colors or this color scheme. The next one is romantic. Romantic is just exactly how it sounds. Pink suggests romance. Pink arouses interest and excitement, but in a softer, quieter way. Yes, pink means I can't afford it either. Well, rich means I can't afford it either. There we go. Pink arouses interest and excitement, but in a softer, quieter way. It combos that are considered romantic use pastels to read as gentle and tender, and it's usually combined with other bright pastels. So, if we go back to our color palettes, right here, I will go ahead and grab some of these colors that are considered romantic. That one, right there. This one, right here. This one, right there. And this one, right there. Boom. Romantic. The next one is called Vital. Vital color schemes use vermilion. By using vermilion, a feeling of vigor and warmth can be created. It's youthful, it's playful, and displays energy and personality. Complements well with turquoise. So if you go and you find your orange, your red orange kind of vermilion color, which is red orange, right there. I did not mean to do that. It's usually paired up with a turquoise or a like a green, like that. We go a little darker, and then a blue sometimes. And that's called a Vital color scheme. The next one is called an Earthy color scheme. I think this is a, oh, nope, there's more. This is called an Earthy color scheme. These are usually rich, warm, and full of vitality. It frequently uses terracotta, and it suggests a subtle warmth. Earthy hues reflect fun-loving and youth. I'll put it up later. You don't have to screenshot it. It'll be available to the public later. As soon as I upload it to my YouTube, which I'll put a link to it down below. I'll upload it to my YouTube, and this entire file is going to be available through my Gumroad for free. So earthy colors are dark and warm, and often use terracottas. So if we go here, we get a terracotta color. Terracotta is a lot warm, like brighter, and a little desaturated. So there's a terracotta. It's a little less. It's a little more reddy and a little brighter. There we go. There we go. That's what I needed. So a terracotta color is used. That is usually the color that you see like flower pots have, right? So you use that. A deep color, as long as it's deep and rich. We'll do like a deep green and a deep blue. So there you go. The next one. Also, all of these notes will be available to you guys as soon as I scan them into my computer. The next one is called a friendly color scheme. It's very, it usually uses orange. It's very open and easy. and creates order and equality without a sense of power and control. So, what I would do for that is I would stop smacking. I will go ahead and use orange as at least 3 of the colors. And then I would pair it with its complement, which would be a blue. So I would go with a desaturated kind of blue. And that's a friendly color scheme. The next one is called a soft color scheme. These are light valued. Come on. These are light valued tints without high contrast. Peach is delicious and appealing. When paired with violet or green, it becomes magical. These combos are cheerful, outgoing, while also being calm and inviting. Right? So like it said, peach. We're going to use these up here. Peach. I'm gonna stop doing that. There we go. Boom. Peach. And remember, they don't always have a lot of contrast. So we're going to use a green. I don't like that green. I don't like that green. I'm going to use this. Yeah, that's better. And a blue. So that becomes a very soft color scheme. It becomes a very magical color scheme. We only got 3 more, guys. Ooh, my back. Three more, and then we're done. So the next one is called Welcoming. It's a very welcoming color scheme. So it usually uses yellow, orange, or amber. Those 2 colors are considered a very welcoming color. They're very inviting. At full strength, amber is likened to gold or saffron, which is a pigment that is very expensive. Still very expensive for no reason. Combos made with pale amber are warm and congenial. Now let me make sure I know which color I'm about to grab, because I might be thinking of a whole different color. Because I'm thinking like amber stones. Saffron. Saffron is a very expensive color. Color pigment. Excuse me. Yeah, I'm thinking of the right color. Yep. See? Boom. Yep. Cool. Pen. So saffron mixed with a yellow, a pale saffron. So let's make it pale. We're gonna desaturate it. And up that. There we go. Might have desaturated it just a little too much. There we go. That's better. Exactly. That's why it's so expensive. Then we use like a yellow orange. Man. I've never had saffron in any of my foods because it's just too much to try and grab. This is called a welcoming. Color scheme. I'm actually going to start to move some of these over because we do have two more that we got to squeeze in. Here we go. So elegant is another color scheme. It uses only the palest tints. It's an alternative to achromatic white. Impresses in ease and opulence. Ooh. I'm gonna have to see if there's some black-owned farms that are doing, what you call it. You know what I mean. So we're gonna keep the saturation. We're gonna do it at 90. There we go. All right. The very last one is called Fresh. Equal parts of blue, yellow, and green suggest health and prosperity. Combining with analogous colors creates vivid outdoor schemes. Sky blue and green look fresh and natural together. So this is a pretty easy, straightforward one. It doesn't take any real guesswork. If you just go to your blue, oops, didn't mean to use that one. There we go. Go to your blue. Get a nice sky blue going. Right about there. So sky blue. Get a green. Not too bright. Desaturate a little bit. Green. Green. We're gonna get a deep blue, not a deep blue, but a blue that's nice. And then a yellow, nice pale yellow. And there you go. Now you have a fresh color scheme. Now these color schemes are not, excuse me. These color schemes, now that I'm done, are not exact, one for one, what you should use. These are just examples. These are examples of color combinations that match up to their titles. So it's they're very much color schemes that match the title in the aesthetic that it's trying to portray. So the striking color scheme is very striking. The cool color scheme is very cool. It's very calm. The vital color scheme is very like energetic and friendly. The friendly color scheme is very friendly. The fresh color scheme is very fresh. It seems very natural, very fresh colors that remind you of nature, of fresh food, of veggies, stuff like that. The ones that I can 100% tell you that you can use as a guide to finding a different color are these. Color set 1, color set 2, and color set color set 1 and color set 2 are color schemes that you can use to find other colors. These are your lights, your pastels, your earthens, your darks. Let me move that up a little bit. Rude. There we go. Then you can turn that one off and turn this on, and it's your basics, your 50/50 basics, and your achromatic, and your CMYK. The next one is the first set of color schemes. These are important because you need to know what they do, and they're in the notes. Achromatic is a grayscale. Analogous are colors that are next to each other on the color wheel. Clashing colors is one color to the left or right of the color that you pick's complement. So if you pick blue, if you pick blue and then you use yellow orange or red orange, that's going to be your clashing colors. If you pick blue and then you use yellow orange and red orange, that's going to be a split complementary color scheme, right? If you sorry, somebody walked by my window. If you have your complements, which are the colors that are the exact opposite of each other on the color wheel, right? Monochromatic is only one color using different hues or different shades and tints of that color. So if I take purple and I go down to a deep purple or up to a light purple, that is a monochromatic color scheme. You are only using one color, no other colors. Primary are your main colors that cannot be mixed. Secondary are colors that can be mixed using your primary colors. The tertiary triad is an equilateral triangle from your tertiary colors. So that would be blue, green, yellow, orange, and red, violet. Right? So these three, I'll label them green. I'll put green labels on them. Those are the ones that you can use. This one, I'm going to go ahead and label it orange as an example. And then this is your color wheel. We'll look at the color wheel one more time. And I'll make that purple. This is your color wheel. Your color wheel shows you all of your colors, right? Your primaries are big, your secondaries are a little smaller, your tertiaries are a little smaller than that. There are labels. They're not the best labels in the world, but there are labels. I mean, you really don't need to use the labels if you don't want to, but these are your colors. Color theory is not as hard as it seems. Oh shit. Hello. I guess I did run right into the time when I should have started to stop. Anyway, color theory is not hard. Color theory in every visual art medium. Oh, dope. Okay, in every visual art medium, you are going to use color theory. That's photography, that's film, that's illustration, that's animation, that's everything. Everything is going to use color theory in some way. even cooking uses color theory in some way, right? Professional chefs use color theory as a way to don't gamble away your mortgage, my dude. Color theory, chefs use color theory as a way to make meals aesthetically pleasing to guests. They're not going to put something on the plate that does not look aesthetically pleasing to the guests in their restaurants. So, just keep that in mind, right? Sometimes the gambling machine breaks. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It breaks sometimes. Anyway. Yes. Don't make your chicken blue. Anyway, for us as visual artists, color theory is important because it accentuates the mood of your piece. It amplifies your piece. Using value studies as a way to understand the values before you understand your colors is a great way to start. But colors are so important to how your piece feels, right? And I guess the next Thursday will be value lessons, because that is kind of where this is kind of where we start. This is a stepping stone. We now understand color theory. We understand how colors are used, and we understand why colors are used, and how we as humans perceive color. I will put all of this information, it'll be up online. This entire lesson, this entire stream will be up on my YouTube. The notes will be scanned in, and I will put them on my Gumroad. And the next stream, we're going to learn something new. We're going to learn something else. I know a lot of people are struggling right now because college is expensive and they don't really teach you anything. And I personally think that this is stuff that you should be learning younger. And if you don't learn it younger, take the time and learn it now. Look up free resources and learn it now. I'll even provide free resources for everybody, right? Okay. I think I'm done. Don't be putting Rona in my chat. Don't nobody want the Rona. I have a message request. Alright guys, I'm gonna end the stream here. Caleb is coming over to put things in my computer. Thanks for coming, hanging out for the entire stream, or at least most of the stream, and gathering some knowledge if you can, right? I'll see you guys tomorrow for another stream. Bye.